Good afternoon, everyone. We are Monica Ramirez and Irelia Cabrera, and students of the English language major at the University of Quintana Roo. And today we're going to present our thesis protocol. First of all, we will give you a brief introduction, and then we will move on to our theoretical framework. And finally, we'll talk about our methodology. Let's start.
Here regarding the introduction, first let's address the purpose of this study, which is this study attempts to provide an overview of English language students' attitudes and perceptions toward research methodology courses as offered at the Universidad Autónoma de Quintana Roo at different stages of the major, meaning beginning, mid-semesters, last semesters. And it was really triggered by the apparent lack of interest in carrying out research of English language major students, and the same being pushed apparently by the inadequate training within the methodology courses offered during the major. And beyond that, we wanted to know what are the attitudes and perceptions of the students toward the research work and how it is promoted by the English language major student program at Universidad Autónoma de Quintana Roo. Okay, heading to the main general objectives, this thesis seeks to provide an overview of the current panorama and assessment of the effectiveness of research methodology courses offered by the English language curriculum might contribute to understanding students' attitudes towards the research endeavor. And by analyzing the methodology courses under the guidelines of a motivational model design, this model aims to assure the students' involvement with the course content and materials, will we perhaps be able to pinpoint the structural shortcomings of the instructional design. The general objective is explore the role of research methodology courses offered by the English language curriculum in promoting or deterring students' motivation and attitudes to carrying out research. But why is it relevant? Okay, this study is expected to contribute to a better understanding, as I said, of current attitudes towards research among Universidad Autónoma de Quintana Roo English language major students. Now, regarding the research questions, this study the main research question is for this study is, what are the English language major students' perceptions and attitudes towards conducting research at different stages of the major at Universidad Autónoma de Quintana Roo? The subsequent questions are then, what is the relationship between current attitudes toward research work and the way research is promoted within the major's curriculum? And second, how effective are the mandatory research methodology courses offered here within the EL major curriculum in enhancing interest in researching among students and understanding its methodology. Okay, moving on with theoretical framework, we're going to be discussing first the ARCS motivational model.
Okay, so the first theory or model we took into account for our thesis was Keller's ARCS model, which is intended to provide guidance for teachers in order to have a better understanding of the factors which can influence the students' motivation and also the ways in which this model can be integrated into a lesson. At the same time, it aims to provide reliable and valid strategies for fostering motivation. This motivational model relies on four essential components. That is to say that in order to increase motivation, it is necessary to develop a set of conditions that turn students into fully motivated people. These conditions can be found in the name of the model, ARCS, whose acronyms stand for A, attention, R, relevance, C, confidence, and S, satisfaction. Attention refers to catch students' attention and sustain students' interest in what they are doing. Regarding relevance, as teachers, we have to ensure the belief that the learning experience is an important process within students' life. Confidence refers to the development of positive expectancy towards success, which could be a key factor for overcoming negative barriers such as anxiety, nervousness, or fear. And finally, satisfaction refers to have feelings of satisfaction with the process or the result of the learning process. And here the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation take part.
The other principle we thought it really fit with our study, it really concerns our study, was the logical significance of materials and proposed by Allswell or integrated in the Allswell meaningful learning theory. And even though this meaningful learning theory it postulates or really focuses primarily on pre-existing cognitive structures and new ideas interacting and subsumming, it also iterates about the importance of relevant materials as the way they should be presented. And the relevance of materials plays an insignificant role when discussing the intrinsic factors that contribute to generating meaningful knowledge. And this study will point to the conditions given for meaningful learning to happen, specifically one of them or two of them, which are the logical significance of materials and the psychological significance of materials. But addressing a little bit about that, the psychological significance of materials means that rather than being merely attractive or amusing, one of the features that content should accomplish is that they help students to recall previous knowledge, that encourages the creation of relationships between newly acquired ideas and what the student already knows. And as many authors had noted, this condition assures that materials and content are not separated, are not arbitrary, rather that they foster deep cognitive processes to assimilate the information. And also, and what really concerns more of this study concerns more about is the logical significance of materials, which is refers to the clarity and organization of the materials. Content should be internally cohesive. It means that they are linked and serve not only the learning outcomes, but also to one another, and also should be coherent. So the introduction of each content makes logical sense for students. All of the above should contribute to facilitating knowledge construction. And the way and order materials and contents are presented should follow an order that serves the lesson and or activity or the project's purposes. Okay, and finally, but how the significance of materials is related to our study? Well, we've picked out this construct to be the principle that guide our study, because the scope of this study is to contextualize these principles in order to explore and evaluate from students' perceptions and experiences that we're supposed to get from the surveys and the interviews. We're supposed to explore and evaluate the effectiveness of the methodology courses designed within the English language curriculum at Universidad Autónoma de Quintana Roo in motivating students to embrace and carry out research. So let's move on to the methodology.
Okay, so our methodology, well, our research content and the study will be carried out among the EL major students of 4 different levels of the Universidad Autónoma de Quintana Roo to work with. In addition, we consider the following sampling the most appropriate for the purpose of our research. And 12 students in the first semester, 12 students in the third semester, 12 students in the fifth semester, and finally 12 students in the seventh semester. Regarding our data collection, we are intent to apply 3 different instruments. Regarding the quantitative aspect, we decide to use an online survey of around 15 multiple choice questions related to the student's opinion about methodological research courses and their impact on the motivational factor. Such multiple choice questions will be presented in a linker scale form. The third instrument is related to the qualitative part of our research and semi-structured interviews. We are expected to carry out face-to-face consultations with the participants. From our 4 survey groups, we expect to interview at least 6 for each group. The interview will consist of 10 open-ended questions in order to know more about students' perceptions and attitudes towards research. However, and since it is a semi-structured consultation, this number of questions will be served only as a guide for the interviewers and letting room for applicable questions as they emerge from the student's answer. Sorry. Okay, finally, our data analysis. This study considered qualitative data analysis as deductive. And I will present you the steps. First, the first step is a transcript. When we write down the samples, had to say during the interviews, then we move on to open coding. We expect to get preliminary identification of concepts and codes that fit with the data capture with the transcript. Then we'll put the data through an Excel coding process. Here is where we expect to obtain the broad categories which might help us to analyze the interview results. And finally, by connecting the previously drawn upper code, we will be setting the core teams to present the study results. And thank you so much for listening to us. That's all for today's presentation.